Well, when you think of Afghanistan, you might think it's a bit like this. Well, that's sort of what an Afghan illegal migrant who claimed asylum in the UK told us when he claimed his country was so dangerous under the Taliban that he had to flee for safety.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We have one message for America.
Welcome to Afghanistan.
What's up, Yusuf?
And the American souvenir.
Oh, it's not even on safety right now.
Yeah, that's an actual video made by the Taliban to promote tourism in Afghanistan. And you know what? I thought the start of it was actually kind of funny, I have to say it. But anyway, let's face it, why wouldn't you want to go on holiday to Afghanistan, eh?
Hey, guy. Oh, are you talking about these guys? Oh, these are your friends. Oh, okay.
Glorious, glorious stuff. Women fully covered head to toe in niqabs in 40-degree heat, while the lads have fun splashing around in pedalos with AK-47s. That's a big step up from Butlins, isn't it? I would have said jokes aside, but this entire story really is a laughingstock. According to The Sun, DG Osama, the man who in 2022 came all the way to Britain to escape his oppressive regime, took a holiday back to his homeland. Here's some snaps of his time abroad. And hopefully we can see that. There he is. Yeah, there he is on the lovely blue waters there, gliding his hands through the water as he relaxes in Afghanistan. And we've got another one coming up for you. Here he is again outside of a mosque. He looks very oppressed here, doesn't he? Well, The Sun are also reporting Osama also shared videos of French cities, Paris, Calais and Annecy. And he also allegedly posted from Switzerland and Bulgaria, where he was said to be involved, get this, in pro-Afghanistan marches at the same time as when the Taliban retook control of Kabul in 2021. So it looks like he might have travelled through at least 3 safe countries before choosing to continue his journey to the UK. It looks like he's now deleted his social media account, so we haven't been able to reach him for comments. But I'd be very keen to hear what he has to say about all of this. Also, what about those 3 Kurdish Iranian lads who washed up on small boats wailing about persecution from the mullahs in Iran? Well, according to the Daily Express, an asylum accommodation whistleblower claims they scarpered back to Iran for month-long jaunts last year, one for a full 2 months in April. And don't get me started on the Christmas con artists. Border Force Police Chief Phil Douglas spilled the beans at Luton Airport back in 2023.
I don't know if we found anyone today, but we do find a lot of people who, for example, have claimed asylum in this country and are heading back to their home country for holidays, which obviously isn't allowed.
I mean, it's a joke, isn't it? It's even worse with some of the Afghan ARAP evacuees that we airlifted out. A whistleblower ex-interpreter claims hundreds are zipping back for jolly holidays. And look, whilst I've made a little bit light of this situation, because, let's face it, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry, this case is really quite a slap in the face for British people, many of whom are struggling to make ends meet. Isn't it about time we ended this absolute farce of open borders? It seems to me that most of the people coming to this country aren't fleeing for their safety, but because they know we are a soft touch. I say start the mass deportations right now.
As a journalist, I always need to remember more in less time. And you know what I really hate? Taking notes. It wastes loads of time and you forget stuff. And that's where Plord comes in. This is the Plord Note, a sleek, pro-level AI note-taker that records and creates notes for you. Whether you're listening to a long podcast, stuck in a meeting, or on an important call, Plord captures everything at the tap of a button. Then it gives you a smart, structured summary with all of the key takeaways. It even recognises different speakers by their voice, and you can choose from bullet points, to-do lists, or even mind maps. Your data's safe too. with end-to-end encryption and global privacy compliance. And with Claude's built-in AI, you can search everything you've ever recorded just by asking a question. It's slim, magnetic, under 30 grams, lasts up to 60 days on standby, and over 1 million people are already using it. Hit the link in the description and use code GB10 for £10 off your Claude order. Save hours of time and never miss a detail again. Link in the description below.
Now, I get my thoughts of my panel here. Conservative peer Sean Bailey, senior reporter at Guido Fawkes, Ellie Wheatley, and former Labour advisor Matthew Larzer. Sean, I've got to start with you because you're a Tory peer, right? And this sort of started to explode under the last Conservative government. And we've got to be fair. Labour, of course, are going to say this was their problem, this was the Tory problem, we're cleaning it up. But it still makes a mockery, doesn't it? It still makes a mockery of our country, of the Home Office. And as that former Border Force Chief Inspector said, he sees hundreds of people doing it. This is just one case I'm pulling out here.
It has to be clear everybody has failed in immigration, and Labour have been in too long now to blame it on everybody else. The Tories have put their hands up. Kemi has said she do very different things, and that's a fact. But what's most troubling here is I sit and listen to people speak in the House and other places, and they don't seem to understand that it is possible that people will take advantage of our kindness and our system. And that's what we're seeing now. Now, we've happened to catch his individual out because he's an idiot. But there's the rest of them who are not. We should be checking. And the notion that you can come here with no documents, I've always found it a bit funny, because the thing about oppressive regimes, they're very fond of documents. So people should have some. But the point being this, does the Home Office routinely check who is coming in and out if they're claiming asylum? They absolutely should.
And they clearly don't. I mean, it's unbelievable that he was able to go back to Afghanistan but also come back here. You must have a passport. They must know, they must have records of this. But it's because, obviously, the civil service is riddled with left-wing ideology, and they don't seem to care about tracking and tracking these people, but also looking after taxpayer cash. I mean, for example, obviously, we give £2,000 to everyone that that sign up for voluntary returns. The Home Office doesn't even centrally hold data on how much money we have spent on handing out taxpayer cash to voluntary returns. It's just unbelievable, really. I think it's rooted in the civil service. It's not just the government and who's in power at the moment. They need to root out.
Yeah, Matthew, I mean, the Home Secretary, you'd expect, she's been coming out with strong language, and you'd hope that you'd look at this story and rather than spending her time calling people far right, which she's been doing the last couple of days, she'd go, look, my focus is all on solving this crisis. It doesn't seem to me that anyone in the government has a grip on how bad this is and how much of a mockery it makes of British people who are struggling. They're going to be expected to pay more taxes at the end of this year, which will inevitably fund some of these programmes. We've spent billions covering up the ARAP scandal. How much more can British people take?
Well, I think all the new Home Secretary has been good at is when she hears about nonsenses, she acts. So hopefully, the fact that this is now in the media, this particular dodge has been highlighted again. Action will be taken. I think it's a systematic failure. I'm guessing that what happens is that because they've effectively been given a British passport, because they don't have any other passport, that they just come in through the automatic gates. Yeah. So nobody checks. So can't we just do a simple change, which is anybody who has been granted asylum has to go for a manual check? You would think that would just be one thing on the chip.
Isn't the whole point of the gates that they have some sort of digital information?
Yeah, so I think is they're not putting onto the passport the fact that they need to be checked, see where they've been.
But here's the thing, it makes a mockery. We have a proud tradition of bringing people in who need that support. This dismantles that trust. But what's important now is that they have to put in a mechanism to go back and check, not just going forward. This information exists. We know who comes in and out of the country, or at least we hope we do, through the airlines. They should check. And if you have been back, particularly if you've been back to the country where you were granted asylum from, it should end. We have to send a message. Asylum is for people who need it. Anybody who's cheating the system is...
I think you're right. I think we should also put a duty on airlines. You know, particularly when you're flying long haul, your passport is checked many times, not just a photo, but also to check that you've got the right visa, etc. Nobody should be getting on a flight from a country, even if it's a connecting flight from a country, because under the rules, this is not allowed. It's not like the rules allow this. This is against the rules. Nobody's enforcing the rules. They have to be, and you need to employ airlines, technology, and border force.
I honestly don't think you should be allowed to leave the country until your asylum claim's been dealt with, and even after then, if you're going back to the country that you've claimed
That is banned under the rules. That is banned under the rules.
Just be immediately void your
it has to be consequences.
But the story you're referencing, I think it was Sky News that reported that there are hundreds of Afghans that have come here via the relocation scheme and then gone back on holiday. The former interpreter that was the whistleblower said the only threat is unemployment. And that's why they're coming here. And the thing is, it's about supply and demand. I mean, we have the supply, we have endless freebies that obviously we've been chronicling a lot of, discounts on Lime bikes, beach huts even, let alone the four-star hotels,
we saw the
NHS
other day.
taxis, absolutely. So, of course, they're going to take us sort of mugs.
And that's a problem, isn't it? I sit and I listen to people speak, and this really frustrates me. They speak about as if every claim is pure and clean and true, and it simply isn't the case. I would guess there's a large amount of claims that are actually bogus, and we should have mechanisms to catch those people, because what it is, if you don't have the mechanism, you attract more and more people to chance their arm. We need to have a little bit more scepticism in the system.
Of course,
I think we need some...
Matthew, can I just ask you, because obviously this bloke we're talking about, DG Osama, he actually came in under the last Tory government, so this is something that's been ongoing.
Absolutely.
We know it's not a Tory thing or a Labour problem, it's a systematic issue with the way the government works. Who is going to get a grip of this? I mean, do you really believe Shabana Mahmood is going to be the one to get a grip of this where the Tories could fail?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think, for example, on the taxi situation, she's ordered an immediate inquiry. She wants it to stop. Obviously, it takes a... we need to go back. We need to go back and check that it has stopped.
But why is it only the press that are bringing to light these things? Why is the government finding out themselves?
Because what I was about to say is, because I think you're right that it happened under the Tories, and it has obviously happened under the first 18 months or less of the Labour government. But I think what it is where's the common sense in these officials? Who actually sits and signs this off? It's not even a lefty conspiracy. It's just that there's no mechanism.
No, they are acting out of the environment they have. And when these officials bring to other officials, they all nod sagely.
That's got to stop.
What needs to happen is there needs to be political oversight. And I think you're both wrong. Everybody in the political sphere has failed here, because when the Tories are in government, they did anything. Labour said we were racist, and when the Labour are in government and they do anything, we say they're useless. Actually, people just need to step back and they need to talk to the civil service and say it is in your best interests to get this right, because if you don't, we'll make the change.
And the civil service think
do we trust the blob of the civil service to get anything done? That's the problem.
No, there needs to be root and branch reform in the civil service. But Labour make a lot of noise about all of this. We've seen the one-in, one-out migrant deal. I mean, that's really not a deterrent at all when it's maybe 50 migrants, if we're lucky. So far, it's been 7. OK, well done.
It's not really one in, one out either. It's basically nil pois.
Well, exactly. But it's not enough of a deterrent, is it?
Yeah,
so, and Shabana might be making a lot of noise about it and saying we will absolutely crack down on this, etc., etc. We haven't really seen much change. And by the way, when she announces that we will put visa, sort of visa.
Regulations,
yes, exactly. Restrictions on countries that don't play ball, is what you say. That's been a policy since 2022, and it's never been used. So how can we trust that this government will use it?
Yeah, Matthew. Final quick thought from you, because a big question I have is where did he get the money to go on this flight? We know Emirates are flying out to Kabul. I think it's once a day, perhaps. So if he got on an Emirates flight to Afghanistan, I can't imagine it's cheap.
Well, I think that's a perfectly legitimate question. I mean, look, absolutely. The thing is, Shabana Mahmood, as Home Secretary, is making the right noises. We need to make sure that she makes the right actions and that what she's talked about actually happens. Because, as you say, these systematic errors that have been pointed out, they need to be stopped. Yeah. Let's hope at last it happens.
All right, well, moving on, a Home Office spokesperson has said this. Whilst we do not comment on individual cases where there is some evidence of someone holding protection status returning to their country of origin, it will trigger a review of their status. Well, there you have it. Well, I don't know if it happened. We'll find out.